Greetings everyone. Welcome to ID 110. Today we'll be working on reflected ceiling plans and interior elevations. So our first set of drawings in this video will include the reflected ceiling plans. So as we begin this, it would be a good idea to pull up some information that will be important for the assignment. I suggest that you print out the assignment and have it available for reference in case there's something you need clarification with or some assistance with. Secondly, I would suggest having the assignment drawing format provided for your, so that you can look at that and understand how that works. And then lastly, it'd be good to print out a copy of the example plan so that you can refer to that as the drawing is being put together. So as we do this, there's a couple tools that will probably be helpful for you. I would suggest that you get a triangle that works, a 45 triangle or 3060 is fine. A scale that includes a 1/4 inch and 1/8 inch architectural scale. Then a template, a circle template that has a variety of circles. I would suggest the ones that are going to be important are ones that are listed to have an 1/8 inch diameter circle in them. So that'll be helpful later on. Some tape for holding the drawings in place, and then eraser and pencil for the assignment. So another important element in what we'll need tonight is the floor plan. So as we're working on the floor plan, it's a good idea to grab the drawing that you did previously of the lower floor. That's what we'll be taping down first, and get it set on the drawing so that we can refer to it and use the information there in the development of this next drawing. So as you tape down your drawings, please make sure that your drawing is square and is oriented correctly the same way as it is on your floor plan. So all the labeling should be the same as what's going to occur in this drawing. So go ahead and square it up so that the drawing will go quickly. Okay, so now we have the plan taped down. Let's go ahead and place a new vellum pretty much right on top of the previous drawing, making sure again that it is square and true to the parallel and T-square. Okay, now once we have it set in place and squared up, then what we'll want to do in the very first step is to simply trace the plan, and that would be the outside walls and the inside walls. And later on we'll add in the features of the plan that are important to have on this drawing. So go ahead and just trace the outside walls and the inside walls as they appear on your floor plan drawing. Now, one of the things that you'll observe is that as I'm drawing, I will be drawing lines right over the doors and windows. And this is because as we look at the reflected ceiling plan, our place of horizontal cut to create the plan occurs much higher in the picture plane. And what that means is that our perspective now is actually above the door opening and above the window opening. So what we'll be seeing is actually the head wall condition that occurs above each door opening and window opening. So just continue your line straight across and we'll come back through and mark them so we know the approximate location of each door and window. Okay, so now that we have the outside walls, if you'll remember correctly, the interior walls are 4 inches, the exterior walls are 6 inches. So please try to use the same scale for all these drawings. Okay, so now that we have the outside walls and the doors and so on just basically drawn over those, and we have the interior walls, it's a good idea to pick up the solarium, the porch elements, and maybe the greenhouse window next. Get a little tape debacle there, so we'll pick that up, get that back on. Okay. All right, so now we have the porches, the solarium, and put in a little greenhouse window here. And so we can finish up the exterior of the building. All right, so what we have is the basic building form. There's a few things inside that are important that we need to also include in this. And so what we want to do is pay attention to certain things that are happening and remembering that the space from the section drawing, you'll remember that some of it was open to above and some of it was all at a lower level. So that lower level, which is really the ground floor level, needs to be looked at differently for this reflected ceiling plan because that's what we're focusing our attention on. So in completing this part of the drawing, let's take a look at looking at the interior features and focusing on them for a minute. So I would spend some time on the stair, on the bathroom, and the kitchen, filling in and outlining and tracing those forms that you have on the drawing already. Oh, forgot my closet here. Let's get that in there. Okay, and the stairs, we'll get those put in. Now the bathroom, we have a tub, a water closet, which you can just kind of rough into that form. You can use your templates or you can kind of come up with your own at this point. It's just a rough in, so that's probably something to keep in mind. We have a lav sink, and then we have a little cabinet. Okay, so the stairs are done. The washroom is done. Now we'll do the kitchen. So in the kitchen, we're going to put in the base cabinets. We're going to put in some plumbing fixtures, and we're going to put in appliances that will help us understand how the lighting is to be laid out. Now it's probably worth thinking about this a bit. Since our plane, since our cut and our view is so much higher, we will not have dashed lines where the upper cabinets are anymore. These will all be solid lines because we'll be looking down on them from the ceiling height down. Okay, so we're getting close. Now, as we look at this drawing, we're going to see that there's some important elements that haven't been thought through just yet, and it's important to kind of think about them. And that is that the elements of the lower floor really only occur in terms of spaces at the kitchen area, at the hallway that leads to the entrance down here, and in the washroom. And of course, there's a little space here for the closet as well. But those are all at the one-story space. The remaining portion of the plan extends up to a two-story space, and so it is open to above. So, as a result, it's important to define where those boundaries are, and that's done as an edge condition, much as you would see in a soffit or a ceiling overhang. So, I'm going to draw that in here as just a single line. And those lines line up with the posts that are supporting that second floor. Okay, so let's do a quick review of where we're at. We've drawn the outside, we've drawn the inside walls, we've applied the porch, the solarium, and the greenhouse window on the outside. That didn't take very long, and nor should it. This information is already in the design, and so what we're really doing is replicating it, and so that we can look at how the ceiling is treated and what are the ceiling components that are going to go in it. Primarily the lighting, and so we'll be taking a look at the lighting in just a minute. So we have a edge along here that is supported by the posts, and that represents the two-story space right here. So as we move from the plan, the second floor plan, and start to transition to the ceiling plan, the things that we'll want to know are that that there are things on the ceiling that need to be placed. And the primary element, at least in this exercise, will be the lighting. So let me say a couple things about lighting. We want, as a design, the lighting to be represented in a thoughtful and well placed kind of arrangement. And what that means is typically that we want things that are centered in the space or logically located in such a way as to create order and continuity in their placement as well as function. So in this plan, we're going to use our sheet that we have here, and we can see the lighting that's provided. Now, the lighting that's here is a 6-inch downlight for simplicity purposes. And so what we're going to want to do is look at how they're placed so that we get the best benefit of I'll say spacing and symmetry on how they're located. So I'm going to walk through the placements on here, and then you can follow along and mark them on the plan as necessary. So first, let's start outside the building. We have lighting in the porch ceiling so that it lights the porch area and illuminates the steps as people are coming and going. Additionally, we have similar lighting in the interior stair. We have at the lower level, we have lighting at the landing at the bottom of the stairs so people can see where the stair starts. We have lighting in on the landing halfway up the stairs, and then on the second floor you'll see we'll have lighting above the landing there also. So those will need to be provided. Again, using a 6-inch downlight, which will be represented by an 1/8-inch circle on the plan. So those are pretty easy to place. Remember to try to look at the plan here and try to place them in the center. So they would be in the center of the landing, left to right, and also top to bottom. Likewise, down at the bottom, we want them centered in a way that we get good illumination of the lower landing area. The next space includes the washroom. The washroom has some very simple fixtures. There's many more fixtures that could go in these, but for this exercise, we're just keeping it simple. We have a central downlight provided for general illumination of the space. And then over the lav, we have a small lav light that is a wall mount fixture. And if you look closely, I just try to replicate its shape and its form when placing that one as well. So that leaves us with two spaces where we need to look at the lighting just a bit more closely. In the lighting that is provided for the hallway, there's a strong central axis that we're kind of orienting in our light placement. We have 3 fixtures, and as I look at the fixtures, I notice that the top and the bottom fixture, as oriented on the plan, don't seem to have a super strong bearing on anything functionally or geometrically. But as I look at the center fixture, I see that there's an alignment between it and the other fixtures that are occurring in the kitchen. So we'll want to be thoughtful of that. And then once we're in the kitchen, we have a spacing of light fixtures that occur within the kitchen that are intended to be uniform and yet well spaced for the functions that are required in the kitchen. So now I'm going to walk through how I space these out in a little bit more detail. So in order to find the placement of these lights down the hallway, I'm going to focus my attention on them being centered left to right so that I get a nice ordered placement. As I measure the hallway, I observe that it's close to 4 foot. So you might want to find the center line of that hallway, and you can do it by measuring and marking and then providing a simple line to indicate where that center line occurs. So I'm going to place that. Mine looks like it's actually a little closer to 3'6", which would be 42. That'd be 21 inches, which would be 1'9". So I'm marking 1'9" on my plan and just drawing a vertical line down the center. So I'm equal on this side and equal on this side. It's pretty straightforward. Now, as I mentioned, we want the alignment of the fixtures here to make sense, running from the hallway into the kitchen. So that alignment becomes kind of important. So I'm going to find the center line of between the wall and the face of the cabinet, because the cabinet extends all the way to the ceiling and becomes kind of like the limiting factor, the boundary of that ceiling. For this demonstration, my measurements appear to be very close to 30 inches, which halfway between 30 would be 15 inches or 1'3". So I'm marking my drawing at 1'3" and extending a line there. Now, if you want, you can go ahead and draw your circle template where that intersection line or where that first light fixture is occurring. I'm going to go ahead and do that so I know where it is, and there it is. That's a 6-inch fixture, and I've located in the center of this axis and this axis. So now, looking at the other plan, I see I have several other lights that line up, and I've already got them figured out in terms of their axes, but not their exact placement. Now, probably from a functional standpoint, we're going to want to locate the light fixture close to the center of the sink so that the work that is done there can be well illuminated. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to scoot that over a little bit. There we go. Okay, that's better. All right, so now we have to find the spacing of these guys. So one of the things that we want to pay attention to is the fact that we have some information based on this point right here to the cabinet. And we decided that that was going to be 15 inches. So based on this being 30, and then half of that is 15 inches. So I'm going to write 15 right there. Now, in order for this to be symmetric, that means that the top fixtures are going to have to be close to 15 inches away also, so that they are bookended in the same dimension. So I'm going to measure from the edge of the overhang soffit 1'3", and I'm going to mark a horizontal line across there. So So now I have this placement of two lights and this placement of two lights, at least from top to bottom. So we know where they are. Now all we really have to do is find that center row and then space them left to right. So let's find that next dimension. Simply measure the dimension between the two, and as I'm looking at this, it appears that I have 7 feet, close to it. You may be a little off, but it should be close to that. Okay, so based on that, if I say that half the distance of 7 foot is 3'6", so I'm going to measure 1, 2, 3, 6 and that's going to give me the approximate center of these two. So now this spacing and this spacing are the same, and all we have to do is find where the two rows are left to right. So let's talk about that for a minute. In order to find that information, what we want to do is, again, find uniformity in spacing. And that occurs by looking at the boundaries and dividing them up by the number of fixture spaces there are. So looking at this plan, what we'll observe is that we have an edge that occurs at the upper cabinet on the left side, and the same thing occurring on the right side. So as we look across at our drawing, look at the ceiling from left to right, what we'll observe is a total distance of about 5 feet. Could be a little more, could be a little less, but close to it. So dividing 5 feet by 3, because I have 3 spaces, a space here, a space here, and a space here, I think I'm going to convert to inches. So 5 foot, I know 5 foot is 60 inches. 60 inches divided by 3 is 20 inches each. So I'm going to mark across here. I'm going to go ahead and measure from the cabinet, not from the low cabinet, from the upper cabinet, 20 inches, which is 1 foot 8 inches. So I go 1 foot and 8 inches, and that's part 1. And so there's my mark, and I'm just going to put 20 inches so I remember. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I mark 1 foot, 8 inches, and then put 20 inches there. And now I just draw 2 light vertical lines. And we have 1, 2, and that one's a little off. I'm going to fix that up. Shadows on my drafting tools are causing a little bit of a problem. Okay, so here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, here's 4, here's 5, here's 6. Using the circle template, I'm going to go ahead and place those light fixtures in those at the intersections of those lines. So here we go. Oh, wrong line. I'm going a little too fast there. Let's try that again. Here we go. Okay, it's not perfect, but we can fix them up a little later during the final exercise. So what we have now is we have our lights 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, aligned with the sink fixture and aligned with the hallway fixture. Okay, so that roughs out the placement of the lighting. Now, if you look also within that kitchen, you'll observe kind of an interesting form right here. That's a hood. So you have some latitude on how you want to show that, but you can take a look maybe at the hood in your own kitchen to see how far it extends out, and I'll leave you to draw that in as you see fit. Now, we're really at the last 2 places we need to do is find the lighting at these 2 ends. We've found the center, And now we just need to make sure that this space and this space are uniform. So in doing that, there's a couple approaches. I'm going to give you a little bit of latitude here. One way to do it is to simply make them proportional to the space. By doing a crisscross method, I find that they intersect about right there. And you could do the same thing down here. By doing the crisscross method, that puts that light fixture about there, which is close to the entry door, and that's kind of a nice thing. So I'm going to go ahead and put those light fixtures in as well. Okay, so I have light fixtures in the stairs, light fixtures in the hall, light fixtures in the kitchen, and they're all pretty close to that which was provided in the design plan. We could probably throw in a quick light fixture in the washroom, and that's easy. We just do the crisscross method to find the ceiling of find the center of the ceiling and put our fixture in there. I'm going to go ahead and line up the vanity fixture. There we go. Put this up, and there we go. And then crisscross over the porch for the light fixture there. Okay. And that pretty much wraps up the rough out. One of the last things I want to suggest we do is take a look at where the windows and doors occur. We don't necessarily have to show them in detail, but it's good to show their location in case there's a ceiling fixture or some other application of ceiling design that has some relevance to the window placement. Case in point, drapery pockets, additional lighting in and around those areas are all important to show. So it's nice to know where those doors and windows really are. That just requires a simple mark at the edge of every window without showing the glazing. There's no three lines. It's just the outside line and inside line. Same thing at the door. We're not going to show the door swing. We're not going to show the door. We're just going to show where the door opening occurs. This permits us a way of keeping track on those features and how they're and where they're located. Okay, so we've done the majority of the plan. We have a couple more things to do. If you look at the plan, you'll observe that we've articulated where the low ceiling is, but we have to define what's going on beyond that. And that is a way of simply saying we want to tell people that that the ceiling is above this drawing level, and so it is open to above. And that's simply done by drawing a diagonal line through the spaces that are affected. And you can break them. I didn't do it here. I didn't do it exactly here, but you can break that line here, and the continuity of the information will still be good. So bring a line here to there, from this corner to this corner. And that's where we would label open to above. Okay. Other things that we will want to do, especially as we get closer to completing the final drawing, is adding the same poche to the drawing so that we get the walls, the solid walls, to punch and have a strong, prominent representation. And then we'll want to provide a north arrow, we'll want to provide labels, we'll want to provide the title block, similar to what we did on the floor plan drawing itself. So with that, I'm going to say we're done with the lower level reflected ceiling plan, and I'm going to stop the video now, and we'll start in just a minute on the second floor, which will go rather quickly. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.